After Donald Trump came out and said he was a part of Project 2025 the whole time, he then started posting memes. Kind of like a haha, I lied to my own country. What are you going to do about it? And if you ask me, I don't think Donald Trump's clever enough to make these AI videos. I actually think he has some type of assistant working for him. And I'm also not convinced the Trump administration actually does anything, seeing as how they're usually on Twitter all day trolling. I mean, have we ever seen a presidential administration troll people online all day long? Like, what do they actually do besides get on camera and lie and then use the millions of dollars Trump is paying them to get Botox so their face never moves and they're always smiling for some reason? Now let's get to that weird, ominous video Trump posted. Keep in mind, this was on his actual account. If this is supposed to be one big gotcha moment by the president, not only is this incredibly disgusting, but he's just further showing his lack of character. And the weirdest thing of this is MAGA will still support this. Let's watch the rest of this video. Is there anybody out there that's okay with this? I would expect this type of post from maybe a comedian, maybe like a TV star that had some free time and is posting online to troll people, or maybe like a random faceless Twitter account, not the president of the United States that claimed he stopped over 7 wars. And Donald Trump, if you stop so many wars, why can't you stop the one forming in your own country? Oh, that's right, because you're the one starting it. He loves the divide. But this is what happens when you let the 82-year-old crybaby back in office when he was unqualified in the first place. They've been plotting this Project 2025 scheme since 2020, possibly earlier than that, because Russ Vought, the author himself, said he told Trump he was writing this at the end of Trump's first term. And MAGA so blindly denied everybody screaming in their face, Trump wants Project 2025. And here we are today with a meme post from the president, while over 24 million Americans' healthcare is in jeopardy. And if that's not bad enough, he has already begun the deployment of the National Guard in Chicago. The stopper of imaginary wars is now waging war on his own country. Trump, do you work for Russia? This is really weird. These sequence of events does not benefit America in any way. Who are you colluding with? And what's the game? And I have to ask this because Trump is behaving in a way that only a traitor to America would behave in, as if he successfully infiltrated the top position in America, waging war on your own country. And if there's so much violence, why is this video so peaceful? Happening now, heavy military presence outside the Broadview ICE facility in Illinois. Snipers can be seen on top of armored vehicles. Protesters are also being arrested. This is not America anymore. Let's take a look at what's in this video. And what's so crazy is ICE is impersonating military officials, because I can't tell if this is ICE, but I have to assume it is because they're covering their face, or if this is our actual military. What is going on? When law enforcement gets turned against its own citizen, we can only look at the person that allowed this and created this environment, and that is Donald Trump. Because if I saw this video happening in another country, I would tell myself, thank God I don't live there. And at the same time, I would be asking, what the heck is happening over there? That country would be on my do not visit in the next few years list. Now, here is the crazy part. You see all of these people standing around peacefully protesting, and the violence is caused by the ICE officials. They start pushing people, tackling them, getting in their face, yelling at them. They are the cause of the violence.
Hey, get these guys out of here. Get these guys out of here. You said you identified. What are you going to tell your children? What are you going to tell your children? What are you going to tell your children 10 years ago?
They're arresting this man right here for asking them, what are you going to tell your children? This isn't justice. This is emotional children wearing masks. And why are they wearing masks? Why are you allowed to wear a mask, but you can put your hands on US citizens and you can help deport people? You can detain them and have them locked in cages. How are you able to wear a mask? I can't believe the president wants this, and I can't believe there's people behind him that are supporting this. This is an abomination to our Constitution and an abomination to our country, because this is not the answer. But hey, wasn't Donald Trump the same guy who said he wanted to give policemen immunity before he took office? I guess this is what he meant. He wanted law enforcement and the military to serve him as his own personal police force with no consequence, the same way he feels he has no consequences. The ICE, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and all U.S. military, as per my August 25th, 2025 executive order, please be advised that from this point forward, anybody burning the American flag will be subject to 1 year in prison. You will be immediately arrested. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Check it out, everybody. If you burn the American flag, you can serve a year in prison. But if you raid the U.S. Capitol in the name of Donald Trump, nothing will happen to you because felons stick up for felons. Trump is so close to having total control of this country. When midterms come, we need to get him out of office as soon as we can. And I expect that he expects that to happen. Because if you ask me, it seems like Donald Trump is trying to start a war in his own country so he can invoke martial law and gain control of the military. Mark this video. The entirety of MAGA is suffering from a victim complex, and accountability is their trigger. So everything you see Donald Trump doing right now with ICE and the National Guard is his own version of military exercises. That's why he flew in military leaders from around the world and told them to get ready because they're going to play a part. And that's why he had Pete Hegseth try to give them a pep talk saying we need more violence from you guys and it's time to start killing people again, and that we serve at the pleasure of the president. Don't take my word for it, take it from Pete Hegseth.
My approach has been simple. When in doubt, assess the situation, follow your gut, and if it's the best for the military, make a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the president every single day.
Not the Constitution, not as defending the United States of America civilians. No, apparently there's a new constitutional law where we serve at the pleasure of the president every single day. And here's him telling them we have to be ready for war.
Every day we have to be prepared for war, not for defense. We're training warriors, not defenders. We fight wars to win, not to defend. Defense is something you do all the time. It's inherently reactionary and can lead to overuse, overreach, and mission creep. War is something you do sparingly, on our own terms, and with clear aims. We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, tie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill.
Isn't that exactly how they have ICE train for United States civilians? He's given the military the same speeches they gave to ICE. ICE doesn't operate by rules of engagement. We just saw them arrest people for no reason. They're pepper spraying people because they don't like them. ICE is getting in people's faces and then pepper spraying them or tackling to the ground to take them to a cage later on. They're disappearing people in the vans. If you don't think he's preparing them for something much bigger than what's happening already, I mean, the proof is in his own words. Let's continue.
The enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense, maximum lethality, and authority for warfighters. You kill people and break things for a living.
As a Marine Corps veteran, and any veteran will tell you, we have the rules of engagement in actual war with foreign countries for a reason. And it's to provide rules of combat for an ethical war. Because if we didn't have ethical wars, I'm not sure there'd be any people left on this planet by now. He's basically trying to teach these military leaders to violate the Constitution they've been serving their entire life. Turn your backs on Americans and serve at the pleasure of Donald Trump. Are you out of your mind, Pete Hegseth? No wonder ICE is violent all the time. They're giving them these same talks saying there's going to be no consequences for your actions. But these aren't military trained people that gave an oath to their country. These are random people they picked up off the street looking for a paycheck. Replace the qualified professionals with unqualified loyalists. Project 2025. It was the first thing Donald Trump did in office. And if all of that is not crazy enough, this is going to blow your mind. There is an attack on people of color in America as we speak, and it's getting worse. Russell Vought, one of the main authors of Project 2025, has just halted $2.1 billion in Chicago's infrastructure projects to make sure it's not going into race-based contracting. Do you know why there are so many black people in the hood? It's because of people like Russell Vought doing these things to black people and black communities for years, constantly trying to hold them back from improving when they're actively improving. When we take a look at the violent stats already decreasing at a huge rate in Chicago, they're already doing everything they need. They need more funding. Lack of funding leads to lack of education, more violence, more poverty, more drugs, more crimes. This is actually insane. Watch this video.
In the meantime, they're focusing their attention on cuts to blue states, funding cuts to blue states after freezing infrastructure funds in New York, which was widely interpreted as a shot at Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. The OMB director announced this morning $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the Red and Purple modernization project, have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. If Senate votes this afternoon fail, Majority Leader Thune is expected to send members home where they'll get an earful in their districts. And we're told there are cracks in the Democratic coalition behind the scenes as Republicans keep replaying these tapes from all the times Democrats argued against shutdowns. Right now, Republicans are trying to pick off retiring Democrats like Dick Durbin, Gary Peters, and Jeanne Shaheen. John Ossoff in swing state Georgia is also facing a tough re-election next year and getting pressure.
Now, please pay attention. This is a declaration of war. They want a civil war so bad. They want violence on the streets so bad. Trump is itching to declare martial law. They are itching to kill people with the military. Let me say allegedly. These are my beliefs and not set in stone. But with everything I've seen along the way, the outcome to me seems very obvious. So not only is this an attack on the sovereignty of United States citizens as a whole, but these people truly want to go back to the 1930s. It's obvious. They know they're not winning the midterms. They know Trump will never win another election. And they're trying to set their own country up for failure. We have traitors in office. They're all traitors. This is the most disgusting thing I have heard today. Race-based contracting. Do you remember when they used to destroy black communities and then say black people are too dumb after also taking away all funding and opportunities for black people to receive proper education and use segregation to further disenfranchise black communities, which is why we had anti-discrimination laws put in place in the first place to include the Civil Rights Act of 1964? How they complained about black people getting into college after holding black people back for years by destroying communities like this, not giving them any proper infrastructure, refusing house loans, refusing bank loans, putting guns and drugs in the hood. Where is a poverty-stricken area going to get guns and drugs? And they're doing this because they want to defund 24 million people from their current healthcare plan. They're attacking America because they want to attack America, and Democrats are not letting them attack America. It's just the term race-based contracting. That is the most white supremacist term I've ever heard in my life. They want to traumatize and monetize so bad, but you know what? We're not going to fall for it because we are smarter than them. And we are stronger than them. And while they choose to divide, we refuse to divide. They might have been able to convince MAGA to divide, but they can't get the rest of America. But let's be very frank about this. This is an attack on poor people as a whole. They simply just don't care. And while MAGA's ship is burning at the same time everybody else is, they're happy because everybody else's ship is on fire too. Because they have a victim complex and accountability is their trigger. And somebody actually questioned one of Trump's loyalists on Trump's Grim Reaper video. Let's see what she had to say.
Said this is an unenviable choice, that this is an unfortunate consequence, but the president has described this as an unprecedented opportunity to lay off additional workers. He's posted a video likening Rust vote to the Grim Reaper. So which is this? Is this an opportunity to fire more workers or an unfortunate consequence?
Look, the president likes to have a little fun every now and then, and I think both things can be true at the same time. The Democrats have given the administration this opportunity, and we don't like laying people off. Nobody takes joy in that around here, and if you think that, then I think that's very sad. You view the White House and our staff as wanting to put people out of work. Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes in government you have to make tough decisions. Carrie.
They're lying through their teeth as they were just celebrating firing. They all smile as they talk about firing Democrats. They all smile as they talk about defunding Democratic programs that actually help everybody in America. If blue states make most of the money, we donate most of our money to red states, you're not just hurting blue states, you're hurting the entirety of America. If you stop blue states' economy, you stop the main economy that keeps America flowing. You destroy your own country. These people are so beyond uneducated, it baffles me. I don't even think these people think that far ahead. We are watching an oligarch in real time consolidate all the money and power in America, or at least they're trying to, because we're not going to let them. These people have so much money in their pockets from selling MAGA $55 hats that they simply just don't care what happens to anybody else. And then you have some random guy in Tennessee making $26K a year screaming, yes, we're making America great again, guys. And then suddenly he's no longer eligible for SNAP benefits. And at that point, it's Biden's fault. Now, on to some good news. Most people know that Trump is responsible for this BS. In my last video, I said it feels like most Americans are not buying anything the MAGA administration has anything to say anymore. They're not getting pulled into their BS. They know they're liars. They know they're incompetent. And MAGA's falling apart too, but they're too embarrassed to say anything about it because in the MAGA cult, you are not allowed to denounce anything everything that's going on in the administration. You are not allowed to have an independent thought in MAGA. You better have the same thinking process and same parroting of whatever Trump said on TV. And we see right here who is to blame for the shutdown. 47% Trump and Republicans, 30% Democrats, 23% not sure. And even with 23% saying not sure, I reckon this is the same situation when you ask somebody who they voted for, and if they voted for Trump, they will not tell you. So we can go ahead and assume the majority of not sure means we know it's Trump, but I'm not allowed to say it. Now watch them try to defend this poll.
You see the Washington Post poll that was just out here showing more Americans are actually blaming President Trump and you guys, congressional Republicans, for the shutdown than Democrats. Is that giving you pause?
Oh, I think that's a very false scenario right there. I think everybody realizes this is a Schumer shutdown, that this is a politically driven shutdown, driven by AOC and the squad and the liberal Marxist portion of the Democrat Party. I think that's truly what's going on here. That's because, and then none of their arguments make sense why they're trying to shut it down. It just doesn't make any sense to anybody. So I would just discount that poll altogether, and that's not what I'm hearing from back home.
Why do you discount that?
Well, I just think there's so much other polls that say just the opposite. I think that
Which one?
The arguments out there, I don't have them at my fingertips right now. I can tell you that's a very biased poll. I'm absolutely convinced that this is a political
Why is it biased?
shutdown.
Can you explain?
I don't even know who was it from? I don't even know.
The Washington Post. I mean, if it's biased, you should know which one it is. It's the Washington Post poll.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can take a snapshot like that.
He's not allowed to have an independent thought. He has to say this or he's fired. You're no longer on the Trump payroll. The second you have an independent thought, you better just parrot, deny, defend, deflect. Remember, can we please have a psychiatrist evaluate Donald Trump? He has to be a psychopath, right? This is beyond being a narcissist. This is psychopathic behavior. There's no empathy, there's no care, just control, domination, and I will destroy you if you do not let me control and dominate your world. This is not a normal person by any means, and I mean that in the worst way possible. And Trump seems to agree with me with that video that we saw where he said he knows he's at the bottom totem pole of hell and he thinks it's too late for him to get to heaven. And I guess my other question is, since these people have such a conspiracy to overthrow the government, because technically they are the government, are they eligible to go to prison for their actions? But once again, Democratic officials, hold your ground. Do not let these Americans lose their health care because of the incompetent people that caused the government shutdown. The majority of Americans know who caused this. The ones that matter know who caused this. And we'll do our job to make sure that actual information, what's actually happening, gets out there. Do not bend or break to this dictator. This is yet again another one of his stress tests. How long is he going to keep the government shut down? For the next 3 years? Yeah, right. He would get impeached by that. We're even down to hold out to the midterms because he will no longer have any ground whatsoever. Of course, I can't speak for anybody, but what are we going to do when Republicans want to remove the health care of millions of Americans? It's a simple solution, yet they've admitted themselves that they don't want to have a conversation about this or negotiate. Donald Trump said himself he doesn't want to meet with anybody or talk to anybody about this. And Mike Johnson said, I literally have nothing to negotiate because he already got word from Trump that we're not negotiating. So you know they just parrot whatever Trump says.
Over a clean CR. How in the world could they blame the people here who have done our job and sent over a clean CR to keep the lights on? There is no gimmick. People say, why aren't you negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries? Because I quite literally have nothing to negotiate. There's nothing I can pull out of the bill that was a Republican priority to say, oh, we won't do that. Why don't you guys vote for it now? I don't have anything. I didn't put anything in it to send it over. I'm stunned. I'm stunned that they have decided to shut the government down and hurt people. It is on them 100%. The New York, how in the world?
Deny, defend, deflect. The same manuscript. They don't even have a single independent way they conversate. It's all the same playbook. Every single one of them. I noticed JD Vance switched the way he talked while Trump was still campaigning back in 2024. I noticed he got a lot better at just deny, defending, and deflecting without actually ever saying anything. Trump is obviously the master at this manipulation tactic, but his little puppeteers are trying their best. They're just so easy to see through. And last but not least, release the Epstein files, Donald Trump. We still have not forgotten. And come the midterms, your time is up. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure to have a great day today. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.